And this is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI Services, another edition of our Talking Business interview series. I have a chance to talk with experts in the fields of digital marketing, banking, insurance, customer service, and credit cards. And we are very pleased today to talk to a credit card and personal finance writer, good friend of ours, and that is Eric Rosenberg, who contributes a number of publications and websites and has his own personalprofitability.com. Eric, good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. We met through our friend Jason Steele and his conference for credit card trade writers and who follow especially the loyalty and travel business. Maybe just start out, what was the year like for you before about the 10th of March?
So before everything started to kind of go haywire, it was actually a great year for my business so far. I have a little one at home. We had a baby boy. We have 3 kids. The first boy joined us in November.
Congratulations.
So thank you. So low sleep at the beginning of the year, but work was going well. Everybody was. I write a lot about credit cards and credit card reward points, as you mentioned. So a lot of my clients were running full steam ahead. The economy's been great for such a long stretch. Everyone's been kind of wondering when it was going to give. But everything had been going great well into February and even into March for my business. So until consumer spending really shifted, everything was business as usual and business was going well.
Well, that's good. And then I don't know when it was when the NBA closed their season, when the NCAA tournament was canceled. Really seemed to be a signal for closing of so many aspects of American economy and travel shut down largely. What was it like for you to watch the travel industry all of a sudden come to such a fast virtual halt?
It was an interesting thing to be on the sidelines of because it seemed like it was starting really quick, and then all of a sudden, in a blink of an eye, a huge percent of flights were canceled, hotels were closing, just shutting down. They don't want anyone in there. Governors are closing places. Actually, before we started recording, I was telling about how I drove to visit my parents, and we locked down with them, and that meant driving through Nevada from Southern California. And we pulled up in front of this really big casino in one of those little towns kind of towards the California border where they try to pick people up rather than driving all the way to Vegas. And we drove up to the front door of one of them and read the sign that the governor closed the hotel and casino. And it's seeing these giant, multi-billion-dollar buildings just shut down it's a weird time in the world.
Oh, it certainly is. Now, you follow the credit card business very closely, banking, personal finance. You're contributing to a number of publications such as Credit Karma, Business Insider, Mint.com, GoDaddy.com. What's been some of your advice to your readers about how to handle and get through this very difficult economic time?
Yeah, so there's a few different positions people might be in, and it's important to first just assess where you're at. If you are one of the lucky people who was already working at home or is now able to work at home and continue your job like usual, hopefully your income won't change, but things are a little more precarious than they've been. So definitely think about your savings, emergency funds. If you lost your income, you'd be very, very happy you had one. I like to recommend at least a minimum of 3 to 6 months of expenses in an emergency fund. And that's for people who have a stable job. If you have any worries about your income, or like me, you're primarily a freelancer, then you might want to double that to 6 to 12 months of savings. So if you're able to add to savings right now, definitely do. But next, after you know you're safe, if you've shored up your money and you're not too worried about going broke in the near future, you can look at your credit cards. As you mentioned, I've been writing a lot about what should you do with your credit cards right now. So, the first step, maybe look through all of your cards, see if there's any annual fees for cards that you don't really use that often or don't foresee yourself using very often. You might call up the bank and try to downgrade those cards to one with no annual fee just to save a little money. then look at where you're spending most today. So I saw a news report today that clothing sales were down in March by about 50%. So
Wow.
odds are, if you were out going to the mall, shopping for clothes, the mall's closed. So we're not doing that. But where are you spending? We all have to eat. A lot of spending has shifted to grocery stores. A lot of people are eating out less, but restaurant delivery, that's all still happening. So that's pretty much where people are spending right now is food and groceries. And maybe it's large warehouse club type stores. If you can get into Costco, they have a great card, or Walmart has a great card. So if there's a specific store, even Target, that you spend at a lot, where you're getting a lot of your staples for home, or even Amazon, and there's 4 cards right there that are great from store specific. But then there's the more generic cards, like the American Express Gold card that has high travel rewards specifically for supermarkets and restaurants. So, and there's a Grubhub deal on there too. So if you're doing home delivery, you can get some credits on that while earning the most points per dollar you spend. But that card has a $250 annual fee, so you have to circle back to be sensitive to those people who are struggling right now. They might not be rushing to get a card with a high annual fee, but that doesn't mean there's still not a good card out there for your spending habits. You really look at the categories where your money is going and try to find the card that matches your needs.
Yeah, I would say the other area is office equipment.
Oh yeah.
We had to go out. My wife's working on the first floor of our house. I'm up in second floor, and we had to go out and buy an office desk and a chair for her, and I put it together. A couple hours on each item, but she was real happy with that. And we're all looking at is our laptop sufficient? Is our Wi-Fi router sufficient? Especially if you got, like you said, you've got a couple of family members at home using the same source. So we talked with folks at Avaya about that. You have to prioritize which device is going to get the fastest speed off a router. So all sorts of
this laptop we're talking on, that gets the bandwidth in my house.
Yeah, you got your own little studio there. It looks great. So credit cards is a big factor, but spending habits are changing. People are going to be conservative. Now, one of the areas that we've spent time on, and we've seen a lot of activity, especially in community bankers as well as the largest bankers, is the CARES Act, part of the relief effort by the federal government, over $2 trillion with a T. And we've been talking to some of the bankers about processing the payroll loans. What has been your analysis of how the CARES Act and the efforts of the federal government to help people and businesses through the crisis? What do you see happening with that?
Yeah, so it definitely seems like it's helping people. We've never seen any kind of government aid package this big. This is definitely record-setting, but what we're dealing with is unprecedented. So it needed an unprecedented response. I actually, just the day we're recording this morning, woke up and checked my banking app and saw I got my direct deposit from the stimulus. So me, an adult, and my wife, we each got a $1,200 payment and then $500 per child. So
That's great.
that was enough for us to cover about 2 months of health insurance because self-employed. but it's definitely an appreciated payment. So anyone who's getting those payments, I'm sure you're appreciating it. If you haven't seen yours yet, or if you're not sure if you're going to get one, there's a great website that the IRS set up. So make sure you can just Google IRS, am I going to get my stimulus payment? You'll find a link to that page. And you can check to make sure the IRS has your direct deposit information to get your money as fast as possible. Otherwise, there could be some delays, even going into September, I've read. So getting your money sooner is definitely better. For the banks, the payroll loan you were just mentioning is a great program. I actually applied myself. My business, I said it was doing great in January, February, and even into March, but it has definitely slowed down. And I have an S corporation, so I'm an employee of the corporation, and I get a regular paycheck. I also have a contractor, a 1099 contractor, who helps me, an assistant. So for both what I pay myself and what I pay her, we qualify under the PPP loan program, the Payroll Protection loan program. I actually applied through my bank where I have my business checking, which is Chase, one of the giant banks. But I actually spoke to a friend who's a financial advisor here in Ventura, and he has some local friends in the banking industry, and was talking to someone who works at a manager of a local bank about what they were doing and how they were rushing to really try to support their customers who have all these questions as this brand new program came out very quickly, and then are rushing again to manage all the applications and help get everyone their money before it may run out, it was looking like. So if you do have a qualifying business, get that application in as quick as possible because you don't want to miss out. One last place that I've noticed a really great benefit is student loans. I do quite a bit of writing on student loans, and pretty much all student loans, if they're federal, are on pause right now. So it doesn't matter if you had a $50 a month payment or a $500 a month payment, it is on pause. And it's what's called an administrative forbearance. So normally if you go into forbearance, if your payments are paused, interest continues to accrue. And at the end of the loan period, you have to pay all that interest back, or it capitalizes into your balance. So it gives you a larger loan balance. But right now, there's no interest and payments are paused under virtually all federal programs. If you have private student loans, you still make payments as scheduled. They're not giving the same level of relief. If you are having trouble, though, it's worth calling lenders just to see what they might be able to do to work with you. But for federal loans, you get a lot of relief, no payments due until, if memory serves, I think end of September. Things will start to go back to normal, and that's if they don't extend the program. So we'll just have to see what the summer and the fall bring us. But those are all three areas that the government's really trying to help the economy and all of us.
No, that's good to hear. It seems like the stimulus bill, this relief bill, in a very short amount of time has been able to be implemented. There was good foresight to work with the existing banking industry, small and large banks, to be able to distribute the various components, and also working through the IRS for different components. And it's glad to see you got a check. We've heard the community banks were able, we're able to get checks out to some of their customers as early as last week. And I always put it in perspective. You said this is a $2 trillion bill and distribution. When the Department of Veterans Affairs started the new GI Bill about 10 years ago, it took them a full year to distribute, to put the plan together to distribute about $15 billion. And this is about 75 times bigger than that one, and it was done in a matter of 2 weeks. So a lot of credit.
Quite an administrative effort.
Yeah. So what do you see happening? The president was talking yesterday about trying to open up the economy as we get into May. There's a lot of challenges to that with virus testing and basically consumer confidence that they can go to public places where there's gathering, shopping malls, certainly taking airplane flights, going to stadiums. How do you see that returning to some sort of normal over the balance of the year?
I think it's optimistic to hope that we'll maybe have some level of normalcy coming back at the end of summer. May or June is very, very, very optimistic. I suspect. What we're dealing with right now, it's a pretty scary time. I have two parents in their 60s, and my dad has bad prostate cancer. So if he got sick, it would be catastrophic. If my mom got sick, though, even being healthy, it could be catastrophic. And then you read stories about people. I'm like to think I'm relatively healthy in my 30s. People younger than me have been killed by this in a hurry. So living where I live, not too far from LA, I'm far enough out of LA. I'm not in the same bubble of people as there. I'm not extremely worried as I would be if I lived there. But I'm close enough that I'm very aware of what's going on. And we have family in New York, and I'm very aware of what they're dealing with every day. And I think if we move too quickly to reopen things. It might give the economy a short-term little boost, but it might be at the expense of a longer duration of people being on some level of lockdown and some level of fear of going out in public. So if we're able to take the brunt of this, as we all for the most part are right now, and really stay home, the more we do that, the sooner we will be able to reopen. So
Yes, and
ideally, FinCon, it's my biggest conference of the year for my business. It's a financial blogging and media conference. It's scheduled for Long Beach in the fall and at the end of September. And I have my fingers crossed that we'll be able to go there and feel safe to go there. But even at that point, it's probably going to be a slow restart, because while people have to get groceries, a lot of people have gotten used to pickup and delivery, and they might not go back to grocery stores for a long time, if ever. People have shifted to, it's from going to a Costco store to Costco.com, or from going to whatever local retailer to Amazon. There's so many changes in the economy that everything won't come back to be exactly as we remember. Handshakes might not come back the way we remember. They might
yeah,
be
I think
elbow shakes or something instead. Who knows? But we'll see some permanent changes to the economy from this. But I think they're all things that innovative companies are going to be able to capitalize on, and things will get to a new normal, and it will be a good normal, and we will get to a place where we're all safe and healthy. We just have to bear with it in the short term, and please everyone, listen to your orders to stay at home, because even if you feel like you're healthy, you might not be, and you could be putting someone like my dad at risk, or you could be someone's grandparent at risk and not even realize it. So it's important we all follow these orders and make this as short as possible.
absolutely. We have two. My wife's parents are both in their 80s, and we're trying to get them through this. And it's difficult for people to stay at home, especially if they're in a vulnerable category like you described. So many of the older senior citizens in our family we're trying to take care of and get them through this tough period. And Eric Rosenberg, trade writer, and also the editor of personalprofitability.com. Do you have a final thought for us today from your outpost in the Los Angeles area?
Yeah, just stay safe out there, everyone. Don't forget about your personal finances. No matter what you're going through, pay attention to your money, because if you ignore your money problems today, they will definitely be worse on the other side of this. So stay finance focused and stay safe and healthy. And I wish all of you a healthy journey through this crisis.
Absolutely. And Eric, always a pleasure to chat with you. And you're out in a bunch of different publications: Business Insider, Credit Karma, Mint.com, GoDaddy.com, as well as your page, Profitability, personalprofitability.com. Did I miss any?
There's new ones I think I've added since I gave you that list. I'm writing at NerdWallet some now. People Joy, it's a student loan company. Self, they're a credit building company, and a long list that changes every month or so. So I'm definitely out there in the personal finance world.
Absolutely, that's quite a distinguished list in your writing audience. Eric, thank you very much for taking a few minutes to chat with us here on CBSI Services Talking Business. You stay well, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Our pleasure. And this is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI Services, our company based in Harrison, New York, for nearly 40 years supporting the credit card industry, the banking industry with insurance products, credit card benefits, customer service management. We've had and our team has done a great job during this COVID period helping customers and our clients through this difficult travel period. So many canceled flights and tickets they were able to help customers with. So always very proud of our customer service management team at CBSI.